Hello and welcome to Sonic Month! So, originally this video was going to be done in June, but then Sonic Mania got pushed back to August. So, I've been working like crazy so I can tell you all about this game, Sonic Mania! Alrighty, let's change lives. It's time to play Sonic Mania. Actually, hold on. I've been on good authority that if you take Sonic and Knuckles and you put that in, and then you lock Sonic Mania into that, you actually can play as Knuckles in this game. Isn't that awesome?
Sonic Mania is the first proper Sonic game since 1994. It knows its roots and it stays true to them. So it starts like Sonic 3 with updated graphics. Sonic Tails are flying in on a plane, then we fly over, it looks like there's a big old egg robo party. All of a sudden this giant crane hand comes down and grabs a time stone out of the ground. Then it uses Chaos Control to send you to Green Hill Zone. A fine level. We'll probably never get away from variations of Green Hill Zone, so let's enjoy it. The music is great and the stage is fun. It's very familiar, but different. It all looks the same, but there are tons of routes. My favorite part is taking the elemental shields for a spin, since you didn't have them in Sonic 1. The best one is the fire shield. If you can find yourself a spike path with this equipped, you can just burn it away. After a while, we run into our first boss. This game has 12 zones, and each one has 2 bosses. The first one is great. The design alone is enough to fawn over. Very reminiscent of the first Sonic game's boss, but it's different as well. It really shows that we're not on the Genesis, boy. We got processing power. You can beat him pretty fast and, crap, I glitched it, didn't I? Green Hill Zone Act 2. So it's mostly identical to the last stage, you know, it feels a little more cavey and the music reflects that as well. But it's still a huge fun to just run through. Seriously, there are so many different routes that you can take through these levels, but one thing that I can truly compliment them for is the level design. In the original Genesis games, I never felt like I could go really fast without running headfirst into something. But these level designs so that you can zip through them if you want, or, like me, just take a nice leisurely jog. The second boss I need to face off is, okay, the final boss from Sonic 2. Neat. Well, unlike Sonic 2, they let me bring rings to this fight, and the terrain has some helpful elevation. And since movements are more fluid with this 60 frames per second, I don't need pixel-perfect movements to land hits. An incredibly fun fight. I hop onto him a few times and then beat him. After that, his corpse falls into the ground. I release the animals, and then I go into that hole to check on Robotnik. Huh. He's hanging out with all the robot masters. But then he grabs the time stone and Chaos Controls me all the way to Chemical Plant Zone. A fan favorite from Sonic 2, song and all. The first level is a mishmash of all the best parts from the original, including that iconic death shaft where many players have met Davy Jones. Traumatic song and all. Then I got to the boss. A fun dude. He covers himself up in the goo and then he hops around. After that, he is a carbon copy of the mid-level boss from Ice Cap Zone. But that's a fun boss, so we'll take it. Act 2 of Chemical Plant Zone is nothing like Act 1. This is where Christian Whitehead went ham. Sure, we're still in the factory, but we have tons of fun and unique movement options. You can bounce on the chemicals, you can take a DNA ride, you can go through pneumatic tubes, and... wait, hold on. That's the dude from Angel Island Zone. What are you doing here, buddy? But after that fun chemical-induced level, we fight the most unique boss of all time. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. This boss came out of nowhere, and I love it. Robotnik is as easy as garbage, but the very fact that they are even referencing that game makes this like one of the best things ever. Better yet, if you beat this game twice, you actually unlock the full game. It's in the extras. You can either go against a computer or a fellow human. You hear that, Neobot Tetris? You just lost the sale for Sonic Mania. After dispatching Robotnik, I hop into a tube and am whisked away to the first original stage of this game, this neon-themed Wonderland. There are a lot of beautiful colors going on in the foreground, but after watching this footage back, I absolutely love paying attention to the background as well. This level is bursting with charm and Easter eggs. My favorite is that this first shop here has the exact same name and font as the first shop from Streets of Rage. This is just a fun level. I like it when you run into the news van.
Mike! Where are you?
He's not there. In a million pieces.
Well, after that, we get to the first meh boss. Now don't get me wrong, his character design is amazing. A police chief robot, and look at this, his egg robos are flying around with billy clubs. This guy's great. He's always got a bazooka with him, but the fight is kind of boring. He shoots 3 missiles. If you can attack the blue one, it'll fly away and blow up one of his officers until it blows up his ship. The only problem with this fight is that it happens at high speeds, so judging where your jumps are gonna land is kind of hampered, and you can't really freely attack him, even though he just seems so close. So the first act was the Opolis part, and this is the studio. There are a lot of props and just stuff around this stage that makes it seem more like the set of a TV show. Lights, camera, Sonic getting turned into electricity. Most impressive is that it pulls this all off while keeping the color palette that they established in the last level. But let's talk about the boss. Now, while the last one was nothing to write home about, this is one of my favorite. Robotnik flies down in his Eggmobile with satellites on it, and then a big old TV turns on, and then the Weather Vane chicken enemy from Mushroom Hill is giving a live weather report. The whole time you're attacking Robotnik, the weather will change on you. Gale force winds will pull you towards the spikes. Blazing summer heat will make it so you need to take shelter under Robotnik's ship. And there's a rainstorm where 2 lightning clouds will appear and are completely unthreatening to you. All in all, I love this fight. After you destroy the boss, the broadcast changes to see your character board the flying battery. Much like Chemical Plant Zone, this first act is just the greatest hits of Flying Battery Zone. They just look the funnest, most memorable set pieces from Flying Battery Zone. Leaping from propeller to propeller, the part where you need to dodge Missile Blast to open up a hole, it's great. But they also added in something new. If you have a lightning shield, the magnets will also pull your player up. And since I'm assuming they're proud of this, they are very liberal with the lightning shields, which, for the record, is objectively the best shield. A double jump and bringing the rings into you? Sign me up! Also, the boss isn't too shabby either.
The walls are Don't just stand there, try and brace it with something! 3PO! Come in, 3PO!
It's actually pretty good that the walls close in because then the trash rises, which makes it so you can actually reach the boss's weak points, knock him dead, and move on to the next level. Now, in the game Sonic & Knuckles, I really like the song from Battery Zone Act 1, but the song on Flying Battery Zone Act 2, it is amazing. It adds in more instruments and it is far more intense. Well, that's what happens to the song here, but that madman, Christian Whitehead, did it to the level as well. It's still the same level, but it's so much cooler. You go inside of the ship and outside of the ship. When you're on the outside, it's raining, and I love the rain. The storm is just so gorgeous. Also, it looks like we have an enemy who escaped from Sky Fortress from Sonic 2. And would you look at that? Now he's got a moving platform. That's just so nice. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of this level. The boss, though, not so much. It's not that he's bad, it's just that he's not good. Like the last boss that I didn't like, he's got an amazing design. I love the robotic arachnid aesthetic, but he has the same problem. You can only damage him at certain points. See, you need to push him into these spike walls. He has an attack, but as long as you just keep tapping him, he can't really use it. The thing that I don't like, though, is that the only way to hit him is to throw yourself off of a propeller and smack him into the spike wall. But the worst part is that if you're quick on your feet and you grab onto the propeller a second time, line up the next hit, and then just fly at him, instead of nabbing a second hit on him, you'll pass through the boss and you'll end up as the one on the spikes instead. And then by magic, you end up in Press Garden Zone. But while I'm talking about ending stages, I really want to mention how I love how the stages end. Sonic and Knuckles hop forward and strike an awesome pose. Tails just does the most adorable smile you've ever seen. But occasionally, the signposts, they blink.
Hey, don't think I didn't see that smirk, Knuckles sign.
Press Garden Zone, another original stage, and it's amazing as well. The art design in these new stages is just phenomenal. I love the French architecture, and I love that everything in this zone is just based around a wine factory. Also, I will never forget the name of this stage. See, I just got lifted up, and then I see these boxes shaking, so I go over to them to look at them, and all of a sudden, boom, dead. Then I realized I was standing on a giant wine press.
Oh, I get it. Press Garden Zone.
I don't like the boss of this level either. It's a cool idea. You need to trigger the boss to use his saw blade into some boxes to destroy his hands. But his lock-on takes too long, and sometimes he flies too high to attack, or whatever. I intentionally take damage from him, and then I land a hit on him with my iframes. However, after that, I went to Press Garden Zone 2. Now, I know that I've been praising this game's art. I love the rain, I love the fluid animations, but this zone, It is gorgeous. When I saw it for the first time, my jaw just dropped. This is the most beautiful environment I have ever seen in a video game. The cool snowy palette contrasts against the stunning purple trees. The Toro lanterns! All with Sakura petals falling? Oh, I want a wall-sized mural of this background. But this level isn't just a pretty face. It's the obligatory ice level. It's no ice cap zone, but what it does with the ice is fun. Rings frozen in ice alongside springs and spikes. There's also a few puzzles where you need to intentionally freeze yourself to smash through some walls. This level is so good. It also has like these parts where you force a tree through a wood chipper. I mean, they only use like 2 points in the level and it doesn't really serve a purpose, but man, it is fun. And it all ends with an amazing boss fight against the Ninja Robot Master. I love this fight. If you attack him from the front, he will freeze you with his ice sword. So, you need to hit him mid-jump and he'll land off balance. Then you can actually strike him. As he takes more and more damage, he'll actually start using the star enemy from Sonic 2 as a throwing star. This felt like an awesome ninja fight, and I loved it. Goodbye, beautiful zone. It's time for Robotnik to chaos control me to Stardust Speedway. However, you may know it by its street name, Marble Garden Zone. Spinning spike ball, belaying on cliffside, sprinting down a column, spin dash ball! But on all seriousness, this is a pretty fun level. I love directionally moving through this maze, and the boss of this level was one of my least favorite parts from Sonic CD, the Firefly enemy. But this wasn't too bad. They reworked him to actually be fun to fight. Bop him, bop his kids, it's great fun! And then they had one of the coolest transitions. Now, if I hadn't played Sonic CD for Sonic Month a few videos back, I may not have fully appreciated this transition, but I did play that, and so I loved this. So, nothing really to say about this level. It's solid, but let's talk about the boss. Metal Sonic from Sonic Mania is the worst boss fight I have ever experienced in my life. It has 3 phases. Phase number 1 is alright. You run across the speedway and Metal Sonic telegraphs his attacks at you. 3 out of 4 of them are avoidable. But after that, you get to my least favorite part of this game. So, Metal Sonic plugs himself into this machine and starts shooting at you while you have these little Sonic bots attacking you. The only way to damage Metal Sonic is using these little guys. You see, when they go into their little spin attack, you need to hit them at an exact angle into Metal Sonic. Exact angles are very hard to pull off. Even more so when their attack is completely random. And when Metal Sonic is constantly pelting the player with electrical charges, it makes it so you can't even stand in one place where you could actually direct these guys. They also have other attacks that do nothing but waste your time. Also, as Knuckles, his jump is just barely low enough that you can't even get the height needed to redirect these guys. And the last part, there's nothing wrong with the fight mechanically, but it is a pet peeve and it's horrifying. Every time you jump and kill one of these things, a flicky bursts out and then just hops away, just like every other robot in the game. But in the unlikely chance that you actually can't smash one of the robots into Metal Sonic, it doesn't drop a flicky. You just incinerated one of them to do damage.
All I wanted to do was protect them.
After 4 hits, which is really hard to do by the way, the battle isn't even over. You have another running section where you go to the top of this thing, and then a spiked wall appears. Wait, hold on. No, wait, what? That was a glitch. But since the last part of the battle was impossible, this part is impossible to lose. If you get hit, your rings are pushed against this wall and you cannot lose them. You don't need to run from this wall. You can win this battle by using only 2 buttons, down and jump. Get hit by the wall, touch the wall to regain your rings, spin dash to hit Metal Sonic, repeat this until you win. A blemish on an otherwise marvelous game. And then by magic we arrive at Hydrocity. Or is it Hydro City? So there's nothing really to point out about these levels. If you've liked the other stages or the original Hydro City, you'll like this zone. They don't do any major shakeups in between the first and second act. Well, okay, there are 2 changes. One is that they have short little gondola sections, and the other one is that when you step on these switches, it helps you float around. They stole this feature from Super Mario World. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the bosses. The first act boss is just the coolest boss ever. You get to pilot Robotnik's Eggmobile from Sonic 3. You turn the machine on and then you try and suck Robotnik up into the propeller. The second boss is a little less cool, but I still liked it. First phase, you are being blown away through the water, and you need to hit Robotnik with these little things that get you air bubbles. Then you are dropped into the ravine from Sonic 3. And then you have the exact same boss fight from Sonic 3, only he's a little bigger here. Then by magic, we end up in Mirage Saloon Zone. And then right off the bat, Knuckles gets murdered. I don't really like Act 1. It's an auto-scroller. It's very reminiscent of Sky Chase Zone, enemies and all. But auto-scrollers are so boring. Worst of all, this game has the all-new drop dash. I don't really know what that is, but a few times while I was playing as Sonic, I'd land on the ground and then just shoot up. And unfortunately, it happened on the plane wing, and I died. And then I needed to sit through the whole same auto-scroller level again. The second half is pretty cool though. They dropped me onto Robotnik's train. The only problem is that it's only like 30 seconds long. I would love a whole level on a train. Each cart would be a whole new experience, but nope. 30 seconds and then I'm back on the plane for a fight with a giant worm. I also don't care for this fight. The worm just jumps at you, but he poses no threat, and there's no guarantee that you can even hit him. That's my big pet peeve. If you can't consistently do damage to an enemy, I hate it. Well, after you beat him, Bark the polar bear shows up and destroys your plane, and it kills the pilot. See? It crashed here, and Tails is nowhere to be found. However, my peeve is fixed here if you play as Knuckles, because when he got killed at the beginning of the stage, he actually landed in a different Mirage Saloon Act 1. Here you need to go through some desert caves, but the level is not an auto-scroller, but it is visually interesting, so I love this level. Oh, and the boss? It's the worm fight again, but it is far more traditional. Well, Act 2 is the same for both groups. It's just a saloon. I really love this level. Everything feels like a cowboy. The graphics are great. I love the saloon chairs, and they have these wanted posters on the wall for Bark, Bean, and Fang. And the boss of this level is a magic guy who turns into all three of them. Hey boys, welcome to 2D. Fang the sniper shoots his gun at you, Bean the dynamite chucks his bombs at you, and Bark the polar bear causes earthquakes. If you hit them, they'll turn back into Magic Man and you can strike him real quick. This actually reminds me a lot of the Knuckles battle from Sonic and Knuckles, and I love that fight. After the victory, we hop into a gun which shot us all the way over to Oil Ocean Zone. Now, in Sonic 2, Oil Ocean was a pretty great stage, but it had one glaring issue. The Seahorse guy. These guys shot from off-screen and were almost unavoidable. In my opinion, the very fact that Christian Whitehead reworked these guys' AI has instantly earned him a one-way, all-expense VIP paid ticket to Valhalla. But he didn't stop there. Another amazing thing that he added was the Flame Shield. Now, this level is pretty similar to how it was in Sonic 2, but if you find yourself a Flame Shield and then touch the oil, an amazing effect happens where the oil just bursts into flame, making this whole level 10 times funner with a shield. It's absolutely heartbreaking if you get hit and lose it. Okay, so the boss of this area is the most forgettable in the game. You hit him a few times and then he throws his wrench, and then he turns on these platforms and it's actually a pretty rude beginner's trap, because the first time you play this, if you go to the left or the right, you die instantly. But it's okay, because this boss also dies instantly. And when he does, it makes Act 2 very reminiscent of Sandopolis. For starters, you can jump up these streams, and you need to pull these levers every few seconds to stop the area from becoming an absolute nightmare. And one more thing, here, come here. Now, you didn't hear this from me, but I think that this song is the illegitimate offspring of Sandopolis and Oil Ocean. Also, you can go into the submarine. That's kind of cool. But then, the boss is Squid Nakajima. It is a great combination of the Lava Reef Zone boss and the Oil Ocean boss. Not much to say here, except that it is a ton of fun to avoid and counterattack. After I won the boss battle, I got magicked away to Lava Reef Zone. Now, I gotta say, Lava Reef is my favorite song from the Sonic series. I love it so much. And this is a great version of it. This level is fun and has a lot of fireballs and lava to slow you down. So if you get your mitts on a fire shield, you can just, no pun intended here, blaze through the map. But if you do that, you're gonna leave the level and the song sooner. So it's your choice. But this is an amazing level with lots of fun little set pieces. The boss, however, is just kinda meh. So this giant drill jumps down on you. You want to get him to land on the rocks. That way he'll drill down and then the lava will shoot up onto him. If you can get him to do this 3 times, his armor will actually melt off, and then you can just punish the mistake. See, at first you can't touch him, but then he dies too quickly. My 2 least favorite boss tropes. They kind of cancel each other out, keyword being there, kind of. Now, in Sonic and Knuckles, I hated Lava Reef Act 2 for 2 main reasons. First off, they took away my Lava Reef song. Second off, the level is kind of boring. Well, Tygo Lopez made the song pretty good with his choice of instruments, and Christian made this level an absolute joy. I really liked it. It was just so much fun. What else do I say? Well, I guess I can talk about the boss. This boss fight sucks! I mean, I don't want to detract from the atrocity that was Metal Sonic, but this fight is just awful. So this robot master comes rolling in on a ladybug like he owns the place, and it is hard to land a hit on him. 1/3 of the time, I miss him. 1/3 of the time, I hit him. And 1/3 of the time, I get hit. Every time that I get hit, I lose 50% of my rings. When I'm down to 1 ring, every time I get hit, there is a 50% chance that it bounces somewhere I can recover it. And there is a 50% chance that it bounces off to oblivion. I believe that there is a mathematical equation to how much this fight sucks. However, if you play as Knuckles, it circumvents another one of the game's problems. With Knuckles, you actually have a different fight against the Robot Master, The fight is embarrassingly easy, but hey, as long as it's not the Biker Dude fight, I'll take it. Well, after the boss fights, we get magicked away to Metallic Madness. But if you've seen my Sonic CD videos, you know that these are my least favorite zones. But Christian, that Sly Dog, he made these levels bearable again. Yep, these levels just flow great, and they have fun gimmicks. Level 1's gimmick is kind of like that Donkey Kong level from Smash Bros. Occasionally you go into the background, but they're short and they're fun. The boss is also fun. It's the final boss from Sonic 1. But since you get to bring rings into this fight, instead of being annoying and stressful, it's actually fun. But after 4 hits on it, Robotnik changes it up and goes into a frenzy, smashing around wildly while you avoid and attack him. I love it! Metallic Madness Act 2 is also pretty good. The gimmick here is that you get shrunk down. But, unlike Sonic CD, this actually changes the gameplay. First off, they use it more than once. And here your jump is actually reduced. But it carries over to the boss fight, which is another one of my absolute favorites. So the boss lowers down, and he's a capsule machine. Every time you turn the lever on his face, a capsule drops down with a mini-boss inside. And the bosses that they have are the first boss from Sonic 2, and the second boss from Sonic 1. These little guys are so much fun to fight. And as a joke, they also have miniature Amy's. Oh look, she goes and gives you a hug, how sweet. Sonic on fire! But yes, this is another one of my favorite bosses of all time. After that, by magic, we arrive in Titanic Monarch. As a final zone, it is not bad. You see, final levels in Sonic games usually suck. They aren't fun. They're grueling and they're hard. This level was fine though. My favorite part is when you jump into a roller coaster with an egg robo, and then he just crashes both of you into a wall. The boss of this stage is the midway boss from the last level of Sonic and Knuckles. Huh, fitting. Land hits on the eyeball on the wall. Every time you do this, it blows up one of his little protectors. However, after the eye releases itself from the wall, you need to jump on this guy like Captain America jumped on that grenade. You need to kill this guy fast because he's going to manipulate gravity so you can't really reach him, which will draw out this fight about 3 times longer than it needs to be. Kill him quickly. The final zone was, you know, not super fun, but the art design! I love the mixture of industry and stained glass. All of the red with yellow circles just is very reminiscent of Dr. Robotnik, and it makes him feel like he's all around you. The boss is alright. He bounces around in a shield. Also, he's like attached to these vines, and he shoots projectiles at you, and he teleports you to different sections mid-battle. It's basically Omega Flowey. But since you get to bring rings to this battle, it's pretty fun. So that's pretty much all of Sonic Mania, but unless you got all of the Chaos Emeralds, you don't get the true ending. Well, let's talk about bonus stages real quick. First is the Blue Spheres. At every checkpoint, if you have more than 25 rings, you get to play a game of Blue Spheres. If you beat it, you get a token. If you get all the tokens, your reward is to play more Blue Spheres, which after playing so much to unlock, I would just as soon never see another Blue Sphere for the rest of my life. The challenges to unlock the Chaos Emeralds, however, are interesting. To play this game, first you need to find the giant ring in the stage, and these are usually pretty well hidden. In my whole time playing as Knuckles and Sonic, I only found about 5 each. Tails is a broken character though. Because of his ability to fly, I found like 12. However, after you beat the entire game, you can easily harvest Chaos Emeralds with this ring in Chemical Plant Zone in under 30 seconds each, so it's no big deal. As for the game, at first I hated it, but it grew on me. One big problem with it is that it's so slippery, especially as you gain speed. So in this game, you collect blue spheres to gain speed, and you collect rings to increase the amount of time you spend here. I suggest that you spend the first lap collecting as many rings as possible, and then on the next 2 to 3 laps you concentrate on getting to Mach 3, and then you chase down that UFO. After that, you get your Chaos Emerald. And then the next step is to exit out to the main menu, re-enter Chemical Plant Zone, run over, get into the ring, and then just keep retrying until you get all 7 Chaos Emeralds. After that, go to Titanic Monarch, or just play through the whole game, since being in super form is just one of the funnest things you'll ever do. After you beat Robotnik, you'll be transported to this realm. You'll see the King of the Robot Masters and Robotnik fighting over the Time Stone. But during their quarrel, they notice an annoying blue hedgehog. So, like gentlemen, they decide to put their differences aside so that they can kill you. For this, you fly around in all range mode, and then the two guys will tag team you. The song and the situation are absolutely epic. So first, the Robot King will take shots at you with these little balls that he uses as shields. Try your best to avoid these because if they hit, you'll lose rings. And it is really hard to keep your rings up during this fight. After you hit him, Robotnik will tag in. When Dr. Robotnik is your opponent, I suggest that you use this time to collect rings, since Robotnik will most likely just fly straight into you. Take turns smacking both of these robot guys, and eventually, you'll defeat them both and get the true ending. It's not too epic of a fight, but hey, I had a lot of fun beating this game.
So, that's Sonic Mania! Now, I bought the collector's edition of this game, and it cost me $70 instead of $20. But I gotta say, I've had so much fun with this game, and I will have so much fun with this game, I would gladly pay $70 for it. But since I paid the $70, check it out. I got this. Eh? That's so cool! I would gladly pay $140 just for this statue. I mean, do you have a statue that goes... That's its dedicated purpose. That's all it does. So, if you have a Nintendo Switch, or an Xbox One, or a PlayStation 4, or a PC that was made after 2001, and $20, you would better pick this game up. It is so good. It is so fun. It is so good. Well, I mean, if you exclude that part with Metal Sonic. But besides that, amazing music, amazing graphics, the gameplay is just phenomenal. I mean, if you're a gamer, you owe it to yourself to be able to play this game. Well, I've been working like crazy to actually finish this video, so if you don't mind, I would really appreciate a subscribe. And then keep making videos, and Sonic Forces is gonna suck, huh?